Fonts, huge part of design, right? And I've been asked a couple times on this channel where I go to find my fonts. If you guys are interested in font design, typography, creating your own font even, there are a ton of courses over on Skillshare, and you guys can help support this channel. This video is not sponsored by Skillshare, but I have a referral link because I teach 2 free courses currently over there, Illustrator and Photoshop. Recommend go taking them, links in the description. And if you want 2 free months of Skillshare Premium, where you can go take tons of premium courses all about font design and typography, you guys can also click that link in the description or the first comment on the video. How do I select my fonts? First and foremost, 99 times out of 100, I go to Adobe Fonts. You can click the link in your Creative Cloud app on your desktop, or I'll leave a link in the description. You know where to find it. Once we're at Adobe Fonts, you'll see a huge font library. In this font library, you can filter by a lot of different results. On the left-hand side, you'll see all these classifications like sans serif, serif, slab serif, script, black letter, mono, hand. As you click through those to filter them, you're gonna see all those types of fonts. And even going beyond that, there are recommendations like what you should use for paragraphs or for headings. So if you're a little unsure and you're looking for a headline font, you can select headings, and that's gonna show you some recommendations of that more so headline font as opposed to a paragraph style or body copy. And then you can even move on into properties where you can select weight and width. These are the 2 I probably use the most. When I know I want like a really fat font, I select that fattest G as opposed to the skinny G. And when I want a tall or skinny font or maybe a wide font, that's where I look at the height as well. Same thing with X height. That's gonna allow you to get some different variation. Contrast, standard or caps only, default figure style. Those are 3 filters I pretty much never ever touch. I'm usually only looking for certain types, whether it's fat, short, skinny, tall, script, mono, slab serif, sans serif, serif. Those are kind of the ones that I generally filter on. As we move over to the right, you'll see your filtered fonts and then some different ways that you can view them, whether that's list or grid. That kind of depends on the screen you're using, whichever way it looks better for you. Then you can move on and actually type in some sample text, and that's gonna change every different font to show that sample text. That is one of my favorite features of Adobe Fonts. And you find that on other font sites as well. I like to use that so that I can quickly scan through a ton of different fonts and select what I want that headline or body copy to look like. You can also change the text size and then sort the order of the fonts. Now, one thing I want to note here, the preview of these fonts is not always the only way that it looks or the only font style in that font family. By the way, I'm probably using font type, font family, all these things in the wrong way, so please don't get on me in the comments about that. Come on, designer to designer, as long as I communicate what I'm trying to talk about, it doesn't really matter if it's orthodox, perfect design theory, whatever. What I'm trying to say is look on the preview. You can tell where there's 14 fonts, 20 fonts, 10 fonts, etc. in the font family. So the preview of the font might not be the only way to look at it. So I click into that font, I can still use my sample text and see all the different font weights and styles that that font family has. So I recommend clicking into the different fonts because I've found a lot of fonts that work for my design that are inside, sort of buried underneath the preview. It's not always just what the preview shows. That's my biggest tip for using Adobe Fonts. Now, obviously Adobe Fonts isn't the only place, and if you're using maybe an older version of Photoshop or you're looking for free fonts, I would recommend some of the just free font websites. I think 1001fonts.com, duhfonts.com. I'll link a couple of them. However, I almost never ever go to those sites because those fonts tend to be a little bit lower quality. They're not current as well. The letter spacing's off. They don't include as many of the characters and symbols that I want in my font. That's why I really trust Adobe Fonts. And I know that from another designer, if I'm sharing a design document with them and they have a Creative Cloud subscription, they're gonna be able to sync those fonts really easily. And you can sync all that. You used to be only able to sync, I think, up to 100 different fonts on Adobe Font or Typekit. Now they let you sync as many as you want, which is really nice. To be honest, they kind of always let you sync as many as you want. They never really got on you for syncing. I was like over the limit for my entire subscription. So they never really cracked down on that, and I think they finally just let everyone sync as many as they want. But all in all, this is where I go to get my fonts. And as far as the theory of like how I'm selecting them, how I'm pairing them together, generally I'm just going out there and into the wild, and I'm inspired by something, whether I see a poster, a commercial, some text on a movie, text on a YouTube video even, and I look at that and I screenshot it and I put it in an inspiration folder, and the next time I'm working on a design where I think a certain style might apply, that's when I go back to that and go, you know what, I really like the way that that super wide text was paired with that fine script font. And I'll go to Adobe Fonts and I'll look for that super wide text, something I think works with the letters that I'm typing in. And then I'll search for that script font there, and I'll filter and I'll find two and I'll put them together. And that is basically how I combine fonts, I pair fonts, how I find fonts, everything like that. By the way, you can probably make this video a drinking game every time I say the word fonts while you guys are all at home quarantined. That's a wrap for this one. You guys, if you have any more questions of how I find fonts, hit me up in the comments down below. Really appreciate you. If you subscribe to this video and like it, give it a thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. I'm rambling on. See you guys in the next one. That's my printer. Come on, dude. You think when you... It's literally still flashing. Okay, it's off. We can continue. Oh! I literally pressed the off button. I think it's done. Well, I can start this video now.